Hello YouTubers, this is Rising Raven 1 and today we're gonna cover the Visitor 3 for Arma 2 so that you can create your own maps. I will provide links in the description and basically just want to go there right off the bat, and you want to be looking for Arma 2 terrain tutorial. Now I looked around pretty often and I found there was a serious lacking of video content. There is one video content about how to get things set up, just the installation really though. It doesn't really cover the whole thing here, which is quite a lot if you look at it in this perspective. And there can be a lot that goes wrong. Now, there's also a lot of written ones, but there's a lot that are out of date, and some of them are faulty. Like actually, when I followed this one here, although this is a great tutorial, it still has certain flaws and stuff that leaves you in frustration. We'll get into that later, and I'll point those problems out that I encountered. So let's start. So first off, you want to basically go down here to the installation of the BI editing tools 2. Then down here you will find the number 1, download the BI editing tools 2 first. You click on that, you'll be brought to the site, and here's the download. Just click on it and you save it. Now once you have it as a file, go ahead and open up your computer. Select the drive where you want to work on. In my case I chose the D drive. You do a right click, new and folder. I won't do it because I already have. And I suppose you can call it anything really, but for the sake of simplicity and of this tutorial, just call it Arma Tools. Now Arma Tools will be naturally empty, but open up anyways. And then you can click up here, as you can see, the / Arma Tools. Now I can use Ctrl and C to copy it, or you can just right click, copy this as well. Now once you have that copied, find where you downloaded your BI editing tools. I put mine here, and anyway, you just open that and run it. Naturally, you can take your time and read through the agreements, like anyone does that, right? And then you click on accept the terms of a license agreement, click on next. Excuse me. And then go ahead and you can click all. Technically, I don't think you actually need all of it, but I really don't know what else one can do. So let's just go ahead and select all. Maybe you folks find something to do with the other tools out there. Now, when you actually are in this menu, you'll have a totally different path here. See? Basically, just go ahead all up till here. Well, in whatever your case is, just make sure that this is left, and pay very close attention to this backwards dash. You want to keep that basically, and kind of just replace it. At the end of the day, it should look something like similar to mine, basically. Of course, this could be C in your case if you chose a different drive. Then, of course, I won't hit next, but you guys do that. Then keep on going, and do this for every single one of them, so that there's just like that. Here, I just would paste it in again, and so on. See, same process. Make sure that dash is there. And you do this for every single one of them. Even for this one here. And just keep on putting that path there. When you're done, you should have this one here, this one, this, this, I think this one here as well, this, and this. So yes, and totally should have 9 items. Now when you're done, go ahead and then open up your Arma work. As you can see, this is the folder layout. You shouldn't have this here though. So of course, right click, new, and create a folder. Now technically you can call the folder whatever you really want again, but just keep it simple, follow what I'm doing, and call it workspace. I also think you won't have this here, the bin temp. Now a little bit about the workspace itself. This is where your projects will be taking place. Now for example, I made some maps already, like flooded, hope, jungle, and so on. And yeah, I left out the E here inconveniently. Oh, whatever. So basically you would be putting your maps in here. So these are each individual project. We will be focusing on the tooth sample map because that's what this tutorial will cover, which also this one here covers. It's a good example. I started off pretty good with it, so I suppose we also covered the tooth sample map as well. I'll get to that in a minute. Now, when you installed your stuff here, basically the 9 stuff, you'll notice that there's a P drive appears as well. As you can see, this one's called secondary, this one as well. Now naturally I called mine secondary, that's like my secondary drive. But technically this, wherever you installed your Arma tools, this one will then copy that one. Now if you open this one up, as you can see, I'll just put this here for comparison, because this is quite confusing. It sure as hell confused me the first time. But if you look at what the P is here, so right down here, this P is a copy of this folder inside it. So secondary Arma tools, Arma work. As you can see, they're the exact identical. Total of 21 items. Total of 21 items. Workspace, and so on. And you can see the projects are also in here as well. So this is actually like a copycat thing. Now I don't really know the reason why it is like so, but it is like so. Once you deinstall this the Arma tool stuff, it will go away as well, so rest assured of that. But you must look at this as just as a copy folder of the Arma works. So do not really bother with this drive here at all, unless it specifically states to do so in the tutorial, which we will have to eventually define, but just ignore this as best as you can. Now, continuing back to the tutorial online, we need other tools than what we just got. And it says here, download the latest version of Extract PBO and DePBO by Mikero at Dev Heaven. So go ahead and click on this here. And here we are at Dev Heaven. Now, Extract PBO is here. Naturally you click and you save it. And DePBO. Very important. I overlooked this. I don't know how I did that, but I did overlook it, and I was quite frustrated that the Extract PBO didn't work as intended because it was missing this here. Again, you save your file. Now wherever you have saved it, doesn't really matter. I had mine somewhere here. Yeah, there it is. You start off with the Extract PBO. Just double click, run. You know the drill. And then you finish. It's just as simple as that. Here again, I agree, and it's finished. Excuse me on that. Now, the next step is to locate your Arma 2 folder. So I installed mine on my secondary. Go to your program files, Arma 2, and so a little info. If you look at Arma as a game concept, it's really just the engine here, and this engine is always locating the Add-Ons folder, which is up here. So if you actually rename it to, let's just say like this, and you would now run the engine, which you can do. You can test it. I probably won't do it right now because I don't think my recorder will actually record a game. You know, you'd need something like Fraps for that. I don't know if it would work or not, but anyway, this is new software and I don't want to test it out right now in the middle of the tutorial. But anyway, you can go ahead and test that, and you'll see that when the game pops up, it should look really weird. It should have really limited options, and it wouldn't be a game at all. Anyway, then you can just rename it back to your add-ons, like so. Now, with that being said, as you can see, what the add-ons is, it's all these PBOs and stuff like that. So the game is, when it runs, it's looking for the add-ons content, and basically these add-ons make up the game Arma, as we know, Arma 2. Now you can right-click and sort by type. Then it puts it in a nice layout, like the PBO is up here and the BI sign down there, which we won't really be working with. Now this tutorial that we're following here doesn't require all of this stuff, but it does require a few stuff like buildings 2, data, plants, roads, and roads 2. Now in the map that we're going to be working on this tutorial, I think it will already have the stuff in here, but I'll just show you what you can do anyways. Now bear in mind that when you're working on Visitor 3 and you want to not only just create the land surfaces, you probably want to also add in objects and buildings and trees and plant life and so on. You will need to extract these stuff here, like the buildings. Now you just double click and your extract PBO, as you can see up here, will do the job for you, and it will actually kind of like decompress. It will, you know, make it readable for a computer. As you can see, a folder will pop up here then, and you just wait until it shows here that it's finished and has no problem, just like that. No errors. Press the any key. So I just pressed the any key, which is literally any key. And then you get your buildings here. You can see CA, and then we have buildings again. And here inside, these would be actually the buildings, like Dutch Mini and so on. And these are objects now, like the hospital, if you know it from the game. Anything that you really know of will be in these stuff. Now this only covers the buildings, naturally here, the A10, and so on. But bear in mind that the more you extract of these, of course, the bigger space will be required. This one here, this folder alone is 240 megabytes. I could advise you, and I would advise you, to just extract all of them. Naturally, this is going to eat a lot of space, so expect with an additional 10 gigabytes in that case. Maybe a little bit more, maybe a little less, but around 10 gigs. So, in the tutorial here, it wants us to extract the buildings too. So, I'm just going to get rid of this. We're just going to extract what we need to right now. So, buildings 2, B, buildings 2. It wants the data. It doesn't have one here, so it must be already in the tutorial itself. Ignore the data here. Plants 2. Now plants 2 per se does not exist. We'll have to actually create the plants 2, and I'll show you how to do that in a second. Now what you want to do though is extract these ones here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Unless you have a strong computer, do it bit by bit. What I'm doing here is a little bit crazy, but my computer can handle doing multiple things at once. And I don't know, maybe it's not as excessive as I think it is, but I suggest do it bit by bit, unless you have a really strong computer. Okay, Now, in this tutorial here, it will also explain how to do the plans too, but I'll just explain it myself. What you want to do is create a new folder and just call it plans 2. Okay. Now, in these plants to bush, clutter, misc, plant, and tree, if you click on it, there's another folder called CA, and in CA, there's a plants 2. And if you click on the plants 2, there's a bush. So, as you can see, the path is kind of ridiculous, and it won't really find it in this tutorial that we're covering from the website here. It explicitly states how to do this, and basically that's what we're doing. We're just now following its instructions. So the tutorial wants us basically to create a plants 2 folder and then have just a bush in there, not the path. So now we can get rid of this bush. It wants the clutter. And the thing here, what we really are concerned about is the path, so that when you go into the plants 2, that it sees the clutter right away, and that not that it goes through CA, plants 2, and clutter, because that's just how this tutorial wants it, and that's how it works. I can't give you more reason why to do it. I suppose it's path related. One thing I know though, at the end of the day, this will make the visitor 3 work. Okay, so we're almost done with these. And the last one here. Oops. Okay, so now we have the buildings 2. Data will be in the tutorial thing itself, and we have our plans 2. And again, to recap the plans 2, it should look like this. You have your plans 2 folder, and inside all these 5 with these names. And then of course the data is accessible. So the next one is roads. But in this one here we only have roads. So roads 2. And I'll tell you why in a sec as well. So we also get the roads 2. Seems like roads is missing and the data is missing. I have a system. Sorry about that. Really annoying. Expansion maybe here. Well, that's road Z. I'm just gonna search it here. Has to pop up somewhere. Roads. Roads underscore E, not the one. Here it is. No, but that's only a by sign. No, and that's road Z actually. So, alright, we'll ignore this for the time being because I really do not know where the path is. But in the tut sample map, we will have it anyways. So we don't have to be too bothered by that. Anyway, we take the ones that we have right now. Actually, we leave it for the time being because we will go ahead and then we'll actually download the tutorial map right away. So let me see if I can find that for you guys. Alright, here it is. So download the tutorial sample map. You go ahead and you click it and then you save it. Once you have saved it, you'll have it somewhere like here, well, in your downloads most likely, or wherever it saved it. And then you have this here, of course. you want to obviously open it up. Then you want to go to your workspace. As you can see, I already have it there. Just drag and drop it in there. Once you drag and drop it, as you can see, it has all these goodies in there. Some stuff might not be there by you guys, like these here. I'll cover that later. Sorry, these two. But generally it should just have stuff like this. Like here you can see that it has a satellite image, so later on when we do everything right from the top view, it's kinda gonna look like this here. This is the textures that it will be using. But anyways, so when we go back to our Arma 2 and Arma work, we have a CA folder. If not, just right click and create one, but I think it comes with it. Not too certain on that. Anyway, here you will see the add-ons from the actual game itself. You can see most of them are right there as well. MISC, and so on. So you can see I extracted a lot of these, what I needed. That's up to you what you need. And just throw them in here. Now notice one thing though. If I open up any of mine, it has a layout like this. Like the data, MISC, and it's immediately accessible. Let's just take the MISC here for an example. And here's also MISC as well. Now if we extract the MISC, and we're talking about a fresh extraction. Alright, now let's compare the two folders. The MISC from the fresh extraction and the modified one. Basically you also have to modify it in order that the visitor tree will find it then. And Bulldozer, which is the tool that you will actually have your placements, and that will give you three-dimensional view in your visitor tree, because visitor tree is only a top view program. Now, if I open up my MISC, you can see immediately the data is to be seen. Snowman, and so on, the UAZ rect, and all those goodies. Now if we go to the freshly extracted one, we have a MISC folder, then we have a CA folder, then we have another MISC folder, and then we only have this. So it's very important that you go ahead and open up the MISC, go ahead then open up the CA folder, and then right click on this one here and cut it out, and then paste it into your CA, which is in the Arma Tools, Arma Work CA folder. And it's very important to notice that these paths must be always correct. If they are not, you will have path issues and the program will not work, and you'll be wondering what the hell is going on. Now anyways, let's see. What does this? It's tooth sample thing anyway to have anymore. So let's just take ahead anyway of the roads 2, plants 2, and buildings 2 of what we extracted by you. You can go ahead and cut that and right click here and actually just paste it in. I don't need to, I already have it, so I'm just going to delete mine. But what just worries me right now is why can't I find the roads really? Well, let's just see anyway what it says here. So this is the one that we were just finished not long ago. Bush clutter. Extract buildings 2. PBO. Okay, so apparently there should be also PBO in here. Let's see. Yeah, there it is. You guys see this? Alright, let's extract that. It says here so. Extract the CAO, but only copy and paste the stuff inside the extracted CAO. PBO. So he's talking about this here quite literally. So you take these, cut, and throw it in, of course, 0, 1. I'll actually do that as well because I don't remember doing this one here. Anyway. Yeah, I apparently already had it. Can go ahead and delete that then. Let's see where he finds the roads ones, because right now I don't find the roads. You can do this with all other PBOs, but we're only using... Alright, so this tutorial only covers the buildings 2 and plants 2. So we can ignore the roads one for the time being. Now, we're reaching the phase where we're almost going to work with Visitor 3 itself. But now comes a very, very important part, and if you miss this one, you're going to have a lot of trouble in game itself. Now, when you're in the game and you're playing, you'll notice when there's a ladder, you can scroll and you can climb up the ladder or climb it down. And when there's a door, you can open up the door and so on. Now, if we do not do this here, we won't have that animations, and that's what this is here, animations and ladders. So what the tutorial asks us to do is to click our start. You can then write in run. And in the run, you write in your CMD, and you have this window popping up here. In this window, we want to then just write what he has written here at step 4. And then step 4, CD. And then we only have just a moment. A space / big D. I suppose D could be referring to your drive, so if you have a C, I'm supposing that it's a C. Not too sure there though. And a P then here, double dot. I'm sorry, my keyboard is a bit strange at times. Then we have a backwards dash, CA, and then we press enter. Now if it's done correctly, we have changed our location from wherever we started right now, I don't know, but anyway, right now we're in the PCA folder. And here we want to right now, let's copy the next one, X copy, star sign, I don't know what you call that really, it's a star, alright, dot CPP, big P, double dots, and now your namespace is referring to our workspace, so we have a slash again, CA, slash again, / big S, space, / and a Y. Now you go ahead and do that. Maybe I did a typo there. Let me just check. X copy .cpp p. I forgot a slash here. Very important of these fine touches. If you got it right, it should be doing something like this. That can take a little while, shouldn't take too long though, but what it's doing right now is it's creating the animations for any of the structures really. All the stuff that we're using, it's going to do it. At the end, when it should be done, you'll notice when it's done, it's like shows there, you know, the amounts of files copied. So in my case, 237. This number will vary depending on what you're working with. I'm supposing that it's going to be a lot lesser by you because we're only actually working with the buildings 2 and the plants 2 in this tutorial. Alright, now we're all good to go for the Visitor 3 itself. So let's go ahead and open up. So we have our Visitor 3 here, and we want to run. And this is how Visitor 3 looks. It looks quite simple for the time being. Go ahead and on project, click on new, and this is the size of the map. Now the tutorial covers a 212 by 212. So just stick with it for the time being until you actually get everything good and running. If you understand how the whole feature works, then next map you'll be doing, once we cover this tutorial, you'll hopefully be understanding everything, and then you can go ahead and do whatever size you want, but just stick with this size. And the tutorial I also think that the cell size is 10. Now the cell size is a good question. I suppose it's kind of like maybe also affects the polygons. I don't really know. What I do know is that it will work. Now the calculator, I think because of the cell size here, we write in 5, 1, 2, and I think it's in multiples of 10, so we multiply that by 10, so to say, that's what I'm thinking. I could be wrong here. And then we get, of course, 5120, and we click on the apply processed. Now, when we hit on apply processed, naturally the satellite grid will automatically adjust itself, and that's exactly why we did that. And here we have 48, and we click on alright. Now, system preference is the next step. Go ahead and copy what I have here. Now, by you, Bulldozer might have some other stuff written there. I think you could leave it, but if you want to just follow what I have, then just copy it like this. So up here we have a P double dot, might be hard to see, double dot, and backward slash. And down here we have the Bulldozer. Notice that it's written like so. Dot exe and minus space minus windows, minus window, and then you just click on the alright. When you have that set up, the next thing we want to do is the project preference. And since we're working with the tutorial tut sample map, it is important that we do the following. You go to your sample map, you can see here, you open it up, you go to the data folder, and up here we have a link again, but we only need so much, because you can already see it's already defined as P double dot slash. Now it is confusing. Oops, sorry, that was bad. And I'll tell you why it is confusing, because now we just copy anyway this path first of all, and you just paste it in, so you should look, it should look like so by you. And now the confusing part, which I'll debunk, or however you just want to say that, we're actually copying it from the D, as you notice. It's the D. And here it's defined as P. But if we look at our P, if you had it in mind, that is what I said before, it's basically just a copy, so as you can see, you can actually find what we found in the other one as well, which is here. This is the D one now. Alright, so we click on OK there. And one more thing then, we go click on the project parameters again. You have this base active. You click on edit and you set it to 40, the texture size. And then you'll notice these dots getting more spacious and bigger. And hit alright. So this is already good news, because now our map is pretty much set up to go. Now we just need the actual import of the map. Later on in a different video, I think I will cover of how to use other tools to create your own map, because we're not really creating now our own map per se, but this will help you understand, of course, everything later on. I click on the project, and there's two ways of importing the map itself. You'll see what I mean there. I personally work with XYZs, but in this tutorial it covers it as the image there. So we have our workspace here. We go in our tutorial sample map. I think it's in the sources. Yep, sources, Tehran. And you can see here it files one file, which is what we're looking for, the PBL type, and we have our Terran.pbl. I click on open, and at first by you it might look like this. I'm guessing it will look like this. Now this is because up here, notice this up here, just go ahead and click on one of them different. You can actually mess around, whichever is more sympathetic to you. Actually this one looks cooler, but whatever one you choose, you'll actually now see the map, so to say. If you also look at here at the source and the satellite image, you can see that the structure is pretty much the same. Now it doesn't obviously feed off this here. This will be only the texture applied to it, so it's kind of like will be put onto it, of course in the according size. But this is how the map will also look in game from the top view, so to say, when you open up your game, or sorry, open up your map. Now anyway, we're not through just yet. Now we need to kind of apply that texture to it so that it's not going to just look white, because if we would now run it, which we can't, we could attempt it but it wouldn't work, everything will be just a white hills, white flatlands, and so on. You know how a normal Terran would look, but it would be totally empty and everything would be just white, because we have to also apply the import satellite plus mask. And the mask is, I'll also explain what a mask is. Mask in this case is where you'll define where grass is, where sand is, where cliffs are, and where city pavements are. So we have to think about it that way. Now, as you saw, I opened up the tools, then went to satellite and mask. Then you get this here. Now in the layers.cfg, you want to right click it and edit it. Now when you have your edit here pop up, you will notice that oops, sorry, why is it saying that there? Alright, whatever. Edit. By you it will be very different here. Here it will show the by you it should show anyway tut sample map. So if it doesn't, go ahead and change it to it. So I think it's like that. And you want to do this for every single one that is different. So well, just make sure that the structure, and the reason why it's like this right now by me different than yours is because I had already created a map. I was going through the tutorial myself at the time, so please bear with me on that. I know it's a little bit more complicated this way than it should be. But anyway, when you're done, this is kind of the structure you want to be looking for. Like so. Of course, you hit on a save, and then you double click it. Now when you get the rvmat selection, the tutorial states we go with text. And then when we have the text clicked, here it says up here, select the satellite map. So as you can see here, it also SAT for satellite, so click on that. And this is another, this is a bug that I also encountered in the tutorial. By you, this should be white. So right click on it, click on edit. Some image tool will come up, probably paint. And by you, it should obviously look like this, just white. So just go ahead, select your bucket there, select the black color, use black, save. And that's all you have to do. And you close it. And then it should look like this. It's very important that it's black by you, because if it's white, it's not gonna work. It's just it won't. The reason why is because in the tutorial sample map, black is for grass. So this is going to cover the map as everything in the map will be grass. Even underwater will be grass. Because it's not an advanced map. Later on we can, define where, how it is. And I'll show you a little example there as well in a second. Okay, I'm getting some problem here, I'm guessing, because if you're having any issue like I just did right now, that's because we have problems here. I'm sorry. Now give me a few moments here to troubleshoot this. Sorry about this, by the way. I know it's not running as smoothly as I hoped it would. But it is a complex process and errors will come and go. Can't really help that. Of course, I try to make it as little as possible. I'll have it fixed in a second though. So, alright, now the problem here is that it's missing the workspace, which I should have guessed anyway. So again, this just shows us it's very important for the path definition. Very, very path related. So we're having to have this workspace here, because I don't even know why it was the way it was before. It only had hope written there, but I already thought it was something fishy. Now basically we have to define the path for visitor 3, that it finds it. And it didn't find it the way it was because we need to start off in the workspace, then tutorial sample map. Now we go ahead and save this again. And we open it now. Text, same process as before. And now it's not complaining, thank goodness. Okay, as I was saying before, this is a map that I already had worked on, and you saw that the mask that we had there was just a pure black. This is an example of how one of my maps look from the visitor 3 point of view. If you add objects will have its colors like this. And this is a simple map right now here. You can see this is kind of like rocks and so on. So anyway, this is the map from top view with some objects in it. And it's kind of at the same time like your sat map, but not really. I suppose that's a bad example. Here is the satellite map. In comparison with the one, you can actually go as far as actually take real satellite images using Google Maps or something like that. So as you can see, this is like a real satellite image. It's very, very high detailed. But you can also make your own ones, which I'm trying to show right now here. This is my own created one, as you can see for this map. Now what I just did is you can go on Google and give some grass texture, and then you'll get like grass textures, and you can just do your own textures like this, or pavement, rocks, and so on. And then later, when you have created your own satellite or satellite image, the mask here, which is, you can see this is my mask here. So this is kind of how the mask will look then. So anywhere where black here is in this instance where grass will be. Blue is for pavement. Yellow is for sand. Brown is for kind of like cliffs. So it's really also how it reflects, while you're walking in games. So and brown would be kind of like having nothing. So I hope you understand, what the satellite image and mask will do. So it's just a way of, when you run the game now and you'd be walking here, this place would be a nice grassy field that you'd be running through in this particular map. So that's what satellite images and the mask does. So that's exactly what we did just right now. Now we actually want to now finally see what we have created. And here we have an exclamation mark. We click this, and this will open up our bulldozer right here. Now bulldozer is the tool to, it's kind of like the editor, really. Once you have everything set up, your landscape and so on, now you can use bulldozer to not only, right now it's applying the mask to it, so it's applying the mask and it's applying the texture onto the map. Now you'll get every now and then problems like this. This is path related, but ignore it for now. Actually, you probably can't ignore it because if I remember correctly, I had a lot of issues with there. Anyway, it should still work. Now, by me, it didn't really apply it correctly, and I have a reason. Probably I have a hunch why it's doing it. But as you can see here, maybe I have mixed around. Anyway, you can see that the landscape has its form here. I'm just going to quickly try something. Again, maybe I applied it in the wrong order because it looks like the... I'm just going to quickly check that out. I have a suspicion that I firstly applied the mask and then I applied the the satellite image, so in the wrong order. Make sure that it's satellite image first and then mask if that's the error that I did there. Now you're gonna run bound always into some kind of problems eventually, and then later on we'll reach finally a stage where we're not gonna get really any more issues. Let's just, by you it won't be fixed just yet. We'll fix that in a second. I know the reason why it's giving the error. No, I'm still getting this issue right now. Excuse me. But anyway, by you it should be probably looking probably white at the moment, or maybe the texture is already there, but the reason is because we need to do one more thing here. We go back here and we have our data folder and the rvmat. You can actually right click it and also edit it with. Now I'd actually recommend you to get Notepad++. It's just generally a greater tool and I'll show you why. But you can open it up with your own Notepad, just the default Notepad. Now what's the advantage of having Notepad++? Well, first of all, it's a little bit of a programming kind of language tool. It's good for programming, first of all. And second of all, it has great features that can help you to speed up process. Like here you can see your workspace, which will be actually in the when you downloaded the fresh one, it should be also looking like this. So it would be looking like tut/tut sample map, blah blah blah. That's how it will look by you. So you want to basically replace the tuts here, and you want to replace it workspace. Now, if you have the tool here, the strength of this tool is really good for certain instances, like you can double click and then you can see that it also finds anything else called the same. Then you can click on Ctrl and F and it opens up this here, and you can actually then replace everything. Like if I want to replace, so this can of course come very handy when there are several stuff to be edited, and it will spare you the time. So again, I'll just replace all with workspace. This is how it should look by us. But here, did a little mistake here. Now this is the limitation of it, is because it replaces everything that's tut, and it was the map's also called tut_sample map. So anyways, it should look like this at the end, the path. Workspace first. So again, visitor 3, how it operates. So it looks for our workspace first, and then after the workspace, we define that it's the tut sample map. Now, while we're already at it, we can right click on the config CPP, which is again in your secondary Arma tools, Arma workspace, and to sample map. Sorry about that. And you can edit it again, and here again, same thing. You have to define the workspace. I don't even know if that needs to be there, but I think that should be gone. Yeah, it should look like this. Workspace / tut, and so on. Okay, then you make sure that you save. So saved here. Oops. And I want to obviously save the rvmat as well. Okay. And then you can run. Now I'm gonna get some weird problem that you hopefully won't have. If you do have this very same problem that I have, which I doubt you do, then please go ahead and write that to me and I'll look for a fix. Quite honestly, I think it's something with this map right now, because this is it's an older map from mine that I was, when I was new to it. Anyway, if it works correctly by you, then leave the bulldozer open and click on Alt and Tab. So first, we want to save our map. So it's a good space. Where I usually save it is just the sample map itself. Now you can call it like this: tut_sample map. And now, very important is that you write a .PEW, and always when you're saving a map, PEW, so that the next time you open up your visitor, you can then open up your project. If you don't write a .PEW, visitor won't be able to open it. Very important that you save that. Now you don't have to leave your bulldozer open to save it like that, but the reason why we do need it open is so that you can export your world. In order to export your world, you need to have your bulldozer open. Otherwise it won't work. And again, here you go at the tut sample map, and then you write same one here. And now, very important is a .vrp. It's kind of like a wrap. That's how I imagine it. But .vrp. Very important that you export it that way. Now, when you have all that done, next thing, we're almost near the end, by the way. You open up your D, find your Arma 2 again, and here we are in the Arma 2 folder. And as you can see, any add-on that you get from if you're a fan of mods and whatever, usually you notice that they follow the same structure at @. Now, what I want you to do here is create one as well. We can actually just create this together. So I'm just going to delete this here. You do a new folder. Go ahead, do that @ and then TUT. And inside this one here, we need another folder called Add-Ons. Oops. Like so. And this is all for what we need right now. You can leave this open here. You can actually even open up the add-ons, and then you'll see what will happen later on. But you don't need to. What you need to do now is go back to your secondary again, Arma Tools. And then you have a BinPBO Personal Edition. We'll open up this. And I'll just try to copy what I have here, but not everything. In our case, it's so P / and so on, workspace / tut sample map, tut_sample map. And then down here, we have what we just created right here. So you can see tut add-ons. I don't think it's case sensitive, so you can write it small, but anyway. When you're done with copying what I have here, just pay also attention that this is D or wherever you installed your stuff. and here this one's P. You go in options, and at the very end, if you don't already have, add these two to it. So star.rvmat, and then this type of double dot comma, I don't know what you call it right now. Anyway, and then again star.vrp. I think you also have to untick something here, and if you have, go ahead and write in this here, BinTemp, and it's also something which I'll cover in a second, and then copy this one here as well. So I'm just going to leave it here for a second or two, and then when you have this copied, you want to open up your secondary P. I suppose you can also do it to D-wise, but then in here you do a right click and create a folder called BinTemp. Your BinTemp will be empty, which is fine. And then when you have all that done, click on OK, and you actually click on Pack. Now, if we have our, I'll just use this folder here. That might give you some errors. Just go ahead and click OK. Hopefully it doesn't give you errors, but even if it does, we'll see if it works. The first time I had everything set up correctly, and then it also didn't give me an error. It gave me errors at the start, but eventually the errors kind of went away. Really weird. But anyway, right now it's creating something here as our add-ons. We'll have it soon up and running. And we just gotta wait for it to be done. May vary from time to time how long the process will take. Okay, now it's ready, it says. And here it is. This is our map that the game will load up. Now, if you know how to add mods, that's good. That's really good. If you do not, I'd really advise you to get an Arma 2 launcher. I'll give it also the link in the description. Now what the Arma 2 launcher does is you can just create your own mods or download mods, and you can just create a folder here by add a group. And then once you have a group, you can also call it, like for example, maps. Here you go. And any stuff with the @ sign referring to this here. Now you also have to set the Arma 2 launcher up yourself. I'm sure there's tutorials out there, so go ahead and check those out if you're having any trouble setting up the launcher. If not, if you can't find anything, you can go ahead and write to me, and then maybe I'll just make a tutorial of how to do the Arma 2 launcher itself. But if you have gotten that far, here you can also just see what's down here. So it's what the launcher technically does. It just adds you, here into stuff like it's adding it there at ace. You can see up here at ace and so on. There's also shortcut menus to do that, but whatever. And then here, if you did everything correct, you'll find the folder that we created, the @tut, and you just drag and drop it into your stuff. Make sure it's all ticked, and when it's ticked, I don't actually know if it's going to capture in-game stuff, but you know what, I'm just going to go ahead and do it anyway. It might work, it might not. If not, you'll just see the background here as it is. I'll just actually make it to the background, so you guys can let me know if you actually see in-game stuff or not. Oops, wrong one. Now in-game, you should just find your map under the editor, really. That should be really about it. Now I'm gonna report right now in a second if it works by me, because I got some errors, as you saw there. Getting some weird ass error, getting that black landscape. I don't know why that is right now, I really don't. But I know that when I first did the tutorial I didn't have that issue, so hopefully it's not there by you. And I also know that things didn't work as smoothly as I wanted it here, so I hope this tutorial will be helpful, and it at least maybe if you're still getting some errors, that at least we gotten quite some steps ahead where you normally wouldn't have trouble. Now again, here in the game, go to single player editor, and then you'll find your map. I just did, thank God. It's basically the config.cpp. That's where you can identify it. So right now in game, I'm just placing my soldier, then gonna click preview. Probably gonna have only just black landscapes or whatever, because I haven't fixed that. Yes. So what I see is only black landscapes without any texture and so on. But I'm actually able to walk in the game. So by you, I think it should be actually with grass, and you should actually see the landscape normally. So that's all for now. In the next videos, I will show you how to make your own landscape, so you don't have to, stay with this one here. Just several ways of doing that, and I'll show you that. And I'll also show you how to make your own satellite images and mask images, so you can naturally make your own custom map, however you want to form it. There's also ways of generating maps, and you can also just take images from Google and making maps like that, so certain land segments, maybe the shape of England or something like that, could be actually a map in the game here as well. So that was it. This is Rising Raven 1, and I hope you liked the tutorial. I hope you'll make some nice maps, and I really hope you can subscribe and like my videos. It will help me to know that I'm doing a good job, and therefore naturally it will motivate me to do more. So that's about it. Enjoy your day, guys.